Muy buenos días, niños. Today we're going to be talking about some comparaciones, and these are the note sheets. So if you go to page 187 and 188, you're going to see a bunch of blank lines where you'll be writing some examples. So let's get started. I'll walk you through this because this one's a little more complicated. All right, so comparaciones, how do we express preferences and compare things? In your vocab list, you should have all these written down already, or defined, I should say. It's like less than, more than, etc. So, number one, ¿cómo usamos las comparaciones en inglés? In inglés, we actually say better, warmer, and colder. It's really, I know I always like to say it's funner than. That's an exception, of course, in this case, but it is more fun than. But when we compare things in English, we say better, warmer, colder. Número dos, pero a veces no es posible. So in certain cases, we can't actually, in Spanish, we can't say es, well, the only way you can actually express comparisons is using más que. So more adjective than, more fun than, more famous than. And then we actually have 6 ways. We can say más que, peor or mejor, mayor or menor, menos que, tan como, tanto como. So letter G and H, they look similar, but they are used completely different. And this presentation will go through many different examples, which you're going to write down. Let's start with número 3, and you're only going to write down one example from this slide. We do have one example with a noun as well. So choose one example from this slide. Por ejemplo, mi perro es más rápido que una tortuga. My dog is faster than a turtle. So here, you actually want to make sure that the rápido and atlético does agree with your first subject. So mi perro es más rápido que una tortuga. But if you said a turtle is faster than a slug, una tortuga es más rápida. All right, so I want to make sure about that. Dos, here's another possible example if you wanted to write this one down. Gregorio es más atlético que Luis. He is more athletic than Luis. All right, your second example you should write down, it should have a noun in it. So here we use a verb. So here, Graciela lee más libros que Enrique. So she has a lot more books than him. Here's another example. Los jóvenes tienen más aplicaciones que los adultos. So here, again, más aplicaciones, they have more applications than the adults. Cuatro, again, one example from this slide. El tenis es menos peligroso que el hockey. Tennis is less dangerous than hockey. Or, los gatos son menos divertidos que los perros. Cats are less fun than dogs in this case. All right, cuatro. One example from this one with your noun example. Barack tiene menos pelo que Donald. He has less hair than Donald. Or, yo conozco a menos personas que Kim Kardashian. I know less people than Kim Kardashian. So here again, we have different examples to show if you didn't even know, you didn't know what personas was. All right, followers. I think that's from Twitter. Cinco, you want to write down both of these examples. Mejor que means better, and mejor que you don't have anything between. All right, so you just say mejor que. Para los autores, el agua es mejor que un refresco. Water is better than soda. Or, número dos, los cerveceros, or los brewers, son mejores que los ositos. In this case, we do want to look at your first subject. Who are you talking about? Is it plural? Then you have to make it mejores. 6, peor que works just like mejor que. Perder es peor que ganar. Losing is worse than winning. We also have los osos son peores que los empacadores. The Bears are worse than the Packers. All right, so again, this is an opinion question. So my dad is a very big fan of the Packers, so maybe different for you. 7, mayor que is older than. It works just like peor que or mejor que. Mi hermana es mayor que mi hermano. Now remember, mayor means older. It does not mean mayor. But think about it that way, where in order to be a mayor, you have to be older. And finally, dos. Tus abuelos son mayores que tus padres. If you note again, tus abuelos is your main subject here. Mayores has to be plural because we're talking about your abuelos. Your grandparents are older than your parents. Número 8, menor que, and we are flipping our page to 188 for this slide. Menor que is younger. El perrito es menor que el perro. Now, menor and peor and mayor, so anything ending with a consonant, like an R, that is what we call gender neutral. So we don't have to worry about any gender in this. All we have to worry about is if your first subject is actually plural. For example, los chicos son menores que los adultos. Los chicos, plural, we have to add es, right? Versus this one, which is a singular. El perrito es menor que el perro. The puppy is younger than the dog. Number 9, this means as fun as, for example. Now this one just talks about equality. So our first example, el español es tan divertido como el francés. Spanish is just as fun as French. Or, in this case, número 2, los jugadores de fútbol son tan ricos como los en el fútbol americano. Soccer players are just as rich as football players. May or may not be true. I don't know. I don't really look at statistics. But if you look at your adjective in red here, right? Divertido, we're talking about el español. You do want to make sure that agrees. Los jugadores de fútbol son tan ricos como los en el fútbol americano. We're talking about los jugadores de fútbol. If you can kind of pretend that tan isn't there to decide which form of adjective you want, that will always help. All right, last but not least, we have tanto como. So here we have 4 examples. The first 2 we'll be using nouns. So what's so different about tan como versus tanto como? Tanto como is referring to how many objects you have, if you have the same amount of objects as someone else. For example, Tomás tiene tantos coches como su vecino Julio. He has just as many cars as his neighbor Julio. So here, tiene tantos. One thing to look out for here. Tantos has to agree with coches, or if you have tanto pelo, right? If you had tantas plumas, just as many pens, that would be tantas. If you had tanta, if you had just as many windows, or if you have tiene tanta pluma, all right? So tanta, whatever, has to be singular. So in this case, tanto pelo being masculino, has to be your singular form of tanto. Now remember, in this case, here we go, tanta tarea. Let's say you have just as much homework as someone else, right? Yo tengo tanta tarea como tú. I have just as much homework as you. So here you have to make sure you look at your item you're talking about, how many items, and decide, are you want to using tantos, tanta, tantos, or tanto? All right, here's some more uses without using our sustantivo or our noun. And this is a good way of talking about different things you do, activities. A mi padre le gusta patinar tanto como mi madre. You're always going to want to use tanto como in this case. But my dad likes to skate just as much as my mom. Or, el gato come tanto como el perro. The cat's eating just as much as the dog. So here, más usos. Again, here it's more uses of tan or tanto. Write down as you guys want. Me sorprende que el béisbol es tan popular. It's so popular. No comprendo por qué te gusta tanto fútbol. I don't know why you like soccer so much. Tengo tanta tarea. Just a little exclamation here. I have so much homework. Tengo tanta tarea. So again, just a few things here. All right, finally, number 11. You want to write your own phrase here. Casa uno, referring to this one, es blank, and you want to choose grande, bonita, fea, any adjective you want. Here, let's say you want to say is as big as, or This you could either be que or como, depending on what you use here. Remember, if you're using más or menos, this will be que. If you're using tan, you want to use como here. So you want to create your own phrase here comparing these two houses. Okay? So that is your goal for today. If you have any questions, email me and I will help you out as I can. Hasta luego.